Have you ever seen someone out of the corner of your eye that's not there when you turn to look, or like you see something running around on the ground and you think it's the cat, but there's no cat there when you look? I'm convinced we have ghost cats in the house, but that's besides the point. The book we're going to talk about today is called The House of Bad Memories by Michael David Wilson. It follows this main character, Denny, and he keeps seeing his stepdad, Frank, but he's not really there. Like, he's talking to his newborn daughter and she's like 4 months old, and he sees what looks like Frank in the popcorn ceiling. Now, I don't know if you've ever stared at a popcorn ceiling. You see some weird stuff in there. It's like looking at clouds. You see stuff in the popcorn pattern. So, you know, okay, he saw something that looked like Frank. Weird, right? And then, this is in the synopsis, so it's not a spoiler. He finds out that Frank has passed away. And after he finds this out, he keeps seeing Frank everywhere and smelling his cigarettes, who was a deadbeat POS that used to beat him and his stepsister and was a really horrible, terrible person. And his mom basically chose the deadbeat over him. But he's died, so Denny's gonna go to the funeral. He goes to support his mom. He hasn't seen his stepsister in a while, Jade, who, by the way, is my absolute favorite character in this. She's a nutball and it's awesome. This book is super deranged, off the rails, gross. There's some really disturbing stuff. Please read your content warnings. It's a dark, disturbing story, and Frank had these like buddies with great names like Slaughter and Butcher, who were kind of like some henchmen and almost seemed like he was like some sort of mafia boss, even though he wasn't a mafia boss. At least I don't think he was. Who knows? He goes and sees his mom. His mom's all super weird. Obviously, she doesn't want to even talk about why Denny kind of like hadn't had any part of her life, and he had wanted her to meet his daughter and couldn't because of Frank and all this stuff. And so I guess maybe he thought like they would start to heal after this with the funeral and all, but stuff just gets really weird. As I said, he starts seeing Frank everywhere, and then he starts to question his sanity. Frank's buddies, Slaughter and Butcher, seem to think that Denny might have maybe killed Frank, and he's like, I didn't freaking kill Frank, I wasn't even anywhere near around him. But they're kind of like, you know, this brooding tough guy force. And then Jade has a lot of questions for Denny. She has a bunch of kids, has baby daddy who is a drug addict that's kind of around and not around, and he's real weird, and she doesn't want Denny to leave town until they have a heart-to-heart kind of talk. The way that that comes about is quite interesting. I don't want to get too into it. If you like deranged horror that is weird, it's kind of really gross and disturbing, House of Bad Memories by Michael David Wilson might just be for you. I hope I'm describing it well. So, Denny, main character, his stepdad, Frank, dies, who was a horrible POS. Frank's friends think Denny might have had something to do with Frank dying, even though Frank died of natural causes. Jade has questions too, and she's crazy. Off her rocker crazy, but she's also kind of awesome, and I loved her. She was my favorite part of this book. I really enjoyed it. I don't know what this says about my brain. It's not crazy long, or maybe it is kind of long. No, it's like about 238 pages. It was a wild read. So if you're a fan of horror books, next video coming up will be about another horror book. So stick around, check it out. And if you had fun hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.